If we may start, I hope everyone can hear us, dear colleagues, dear Vice President of the European Parliament, distinguished heads of delegations, dear representatives of international parliamentary organizations, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for virtually being here in Pristina today in the 7th plenary session of the Southeast European Cooperation Process Parliamentary Assembly. We are quite confident that the workings of the session, together with your full support, will further contribute to promoting good neighborly relations and in strengthening our regional cooperation. The first issue, dear colleagues, in order to start our work in compliance with the rules of procedure of Seecp Parliamentary Assembly, allow me to invite you to adopt the agenda of this 7th plenary session. You will all find the agenda of our session on the screen, which has been submitted beforehand to all national coordinators. I'd like to invite you to speak whether you have any objections on the agenda. And if there are no objections, I'd like to invite you to write yes or no under the chat button, which allows you to state your position. I believe the Hellenic Parliament, the Athens delegation would like to take the floor on the agenda. We can't hear you. Could you start once again, please? Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. Yes, we can hear you. We can translation. Yep, in English. Come on now.
Nuk po heket lutna maskën se nuk të kuptoj çfarë. Lutem, ndërpreje. We apologize for these technical difficulties. If you could once again, please. We're waiting for the Athens delegation to take the floor on the agenda. We're not getting any translation from the Athens delegation. Is there a way that you could write your statement on the agenda through the chat option? I'm not sure if the other delegations are hearing, but we can't hear. Once again, if I may ask the Hellenic delegation to send their concerns, questions, or comments on the agenda through the chat option. I do apologize for this technical difficulty, but we're not getting any voice or translation from your delegation in order to hear what you have to say with respect to the agenda. Could the Athens delegation please inform us whether you would accept to state your opinion on the agenda through the chat option? Or if not, if you could let us know how much time you need to deal with this so that we know whether we need to take a break or whether we can continue. Would the Athens delegation agree that we move on, but in the minutes of this meeting, we include written comments from your delegation about the agenda? Dear colleagues from Athens, would you agree that I make my opening statement and then I come back to the agenda while these technical difficulties are resolved? Could you please write yes or no in the chat button whether you would agree to at least have me welcome you through my opening statement, and then we can come back to the agenda while these are resolved. Thank you. I truly appreciate it. As you know, our meeting today has been organized into two sessions, but I will not be speaking in details with regards to these because we will come back to all that once technical difficulties with respect to the Athens delegation are resolved. I will be continuing with my opening statements, dear esteemed colleagues. Let me first say that it's my pleasure to convene the works on the 7th plenary session of the Southeast European Cooperation Process Parliamentary Assembly. We in Kosovo are honored to be the host of this wonderful organization this year. Regretfully, we couldn't host you in Pristina this year in account of this deadly pandemic we are all facing. However, it's, as you, of course, may agree, for the best that we meet virtually rather than put each other in harm's way. Thanks to technological advancements, we have been able to hold a very rewarding conference on Friday, a productive meeting of the Seecp Standing Committee on Saturday, and I'm also looking forward to having a great session of our Seecp Parliamentary Assembly today. Today, one of our members, Slovenia, is celebrating its statehood day, so please join me in congratulating our Slovenian friends on this joyous day for their country. Congratulations. The past few months have been, as you all know, very hard for all of us. Many of our people have lost their loved ones to this virus. Some are still fighting for their lives in hospitals, and a great number of people are having difficulties making their ends meet. So please join me today in sending condolences for all the victims, in praying that those in critical condition will persevere, and in fighting to help ease the dire financial situation that many people are facing. Let me start by reaffirming the crucial role of the Seecp, the Seecp Parliamentary Assembly, in contributing to the stability and prosperity of Southeast Europe. As per our charter, our objectives here are the enhancement of political and security cooperation, fostering economic cooperation, and enlargement of cooperation in the fields of human dimension, democracy, justice, and combating illegal activities. I am looking forward to discussing with you today how we could work together in achieving these objectives and better understand the prospects of regional cooperation in the post-pandemic era through evaluating how greater integration could smoothen the recovery for all of us. Perhaps I can start with a global and regional economic outlook. This meeting comes at a very unprecedented time, and our cooperation is needed now more than ever. The global lockdown that came as a result of the pandemic is generating unprecedented economic challenges that will have a scarring effect on our economies and societies. The pandemic has halted global trade and disrupted economic dynamics by reducing harshly the supply and demand. Free trade agreements were temporarily abolished and national borders have replaced regional ones. According to the IMF's predictions 2 months ago, the global economy is set to contract by -3% this year, a figure much worse than the one during the 2008-2009 financial crisis. Similarly so, according to the European Trade Union Institute, by the beginning of May, more than 50 million workers had been put on government-supported jobs retention schemes across Europe, accounting for an all-time high figure of 25% of the total EU workforce. These numbers, as you know, give us preliminary indication of the situation with regards to the caused level of unemployment in our region as well. In light of these facts, we need bold, coordinated response from our region, aided by the European Union, to brace for the ensuing economic fallout and the scarring effect it will have on the social cohesion in our region. Only together can we overcome this challenge and ensure that this crisis won't provoke a fundamental shift in, and that could be the undoing of our liberal societies. Of course, during this time, European solidarity has been more important than ever. Mindful of this, on March 30, the European Commission announced that it would provide 38 million in immediate support for the Western Balkans to deal with a health emergency, and that it would reallocate 374 million euros to aid the recovery of the region. 1 month later, it announced that it mobilized a package of 3.3 billion to the benefit of the Western Balkans to address the ensuing health and humanitarian needs as a result of this health crisis. This display of solidarity during such an unprecedented crisis showed once again that the EU is a reliable partner for all of us. As President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen said, we have a special responsibility to assist in this pandemic our partners in the Western Balkans, as their future clearly lies in the European Union. And this display of solidarity came even for those who were quick to say that European solidarity doesn't exist. So thankfully, Europe was here for us when we mostly needed them. On enlargement, we do note the Commission's revised accession methodology published on February 5th. The principles upon which it is built, credibility, political steer, dynamism, and predictability, ensure a credible EU perspective for the Balkans. But simply talking about perspective ain't enough any longer. As we continue to deliver on reforms and as the EU sticks to its end of the bargain, we will benefit. So the EU also sticking to its end of the bargain is extremely important. The EU's readiness to reward positive behavior is essential if liberal and pro-European forces in our countries are to hold their ground. Recently, the EU has made great inroads in the enlargement process. On March 25th, members of the European Council agreed to open negotiations on EU membership with Albania and North Macedonia, which was excellent news for our region. The decision of March 25th to open negotiations came as a huge relief to all of us, as it reiterated the EU's commitment to the enlargement process. Coincidentally, just 2 days later, we were met with another milestone as North Macedonia joined NATO as its 30th ally. NATO has been an essential component of the peace and security that our region has enjoyed in decades, And we're delighted as more and more countries from our region join this organization of peace-loving nations, while we in Kosovo are working hard to become the next member. On regional cooperation, let me emphasize that strategic alliances can help all of us with building back better and help us with rethinking our modalities of cooperation. As multinational corporations are thinking production lines and planning to move from big markets to markets closer to home, the countries of Southeast Europe could use these developments to their benefit. We now have a momentum, and it is upon us to explore scenarios around how greater regional partnerships, regional integration in terms of cooperation, trade, etc., could build more promising prospects for a better positioning of Europe in our region, in particular in this alluded new global configuration. In addition, and most importantly, let me emphasize what I say in my everyday work and in every single meeting that we have with colleagues from the region, from the European Union, from the United States and beyond. While all of us understand that peace, stability, and democracy is crucial, we should understand that there can be no peace and reconciliation without justice for the victims. Let me now turn to the issue of digitalization in the European Green Deal. In light of the highly dynamic developments and facing the prospects of digital revolution, our countries have to initiate a serious collaboration in the area of digitalization of our region and the preparation of the workforce for the challenges and opportunities of this new era. It is through sharing of experiences and bilateral and multilateral initiatives that we can all stand a chance to benefit at greater margins. Yet, as we do so, we must remain focused in following the roadmap set by the European Green Deal and jointly agree to turn environmental and climate challenges into opportunities across all policy areas, while guaranteeing that our joint journey ahead is just and inclusive for all. But, ladies and gentlemen, for these opportunities to materialize, some basic preconditions have to be met. The free movement of goods and people and the optimization of provided services call for the free movement of people. For all the progress made, however, the European Union has yet to deliver on its promise to grant the people of Kosovo the long overdue visa liberalization. Still to this date, despite all our efforts and recognized achievements, 2 million Kosovars, one of the most pro-European people, mind you, are cut off from the rest of Europe, threatening the disheartenment from the EU. So, of course, let me conclude by reiterating our call, not just the call of institutions, but the call of all the people of Kosovo, that the European Union needs to keep its promise for visa liberalization for the people of Kosovo. Let me also emphasize once again in this conclusion that all economic indicators tell us that we are in for a big recession that will ravage our economies, and which, if we don't rise to the occasion, could lead to a fundamental shift in our political landscape. Luckily, there are encouraging signs that this time will all be together in overcoming this challenge. We believe that with European solidarity, the advancement of the enlargement process, and the regional cooperation among our countries, we can solve all our problems. The European Commission's revised enlargement methodology and the opening of negotiations with North Macedonia and Albania represent encouraging signs that the enlargement process is alive and well. However, as I said dishearteningly, the people of Kosovo still can't travel freely in the EU, despite doing its part for a long time now. It is high time that the EU sticks to its end of the bargain, because our people must be granted visa liberalization if the EU is to maintain its credibility in the region. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, speakers from parliaments, heads of delegations, representatives from international organizations. As we lay out our joint path forward, we ought to be mindful of embracing timely and efficiently global development trends while guaranteeing that our future policies within the framework of economic development are shaped in the spirit of the European Green Deal. I thank you all for your attention and of course your kind presence in this very important occasion for the organization and for us as Kosovo as its head. And I would like now to check whether our technical problems have been resolved in order to see whether we can hear from the delegation with respect to the agenda. If we don't have any comments or concerns with respect to the agenda that were sent in the chat bottom, I'd like to continue, and we did receive yeses from the rest of the delegations, which means that we will continue with the general debate. As the meeting is scheduled to last until 2:30, I would like to ask for your understanding to keep your interventions within 5 to 7 minutes. This part may be supplemented by myself in regard to results deriving from the meeting of the Central Standing Committee for the seat of the Seecp Secretariat. In compliance with the Seecp rules and format, I will give the floor first to the Troika, continue with the presidents and then heads of delegations, concluding with our distinguished guests. This procedure will be in alphabetical order of the Seecp capitals. We will subsequently continue with the report of the General Committee on Social Development, Education, Research, and Science of the Seecp Parliamentary Assembly, and then with the voting according to the Standing Committee proposals. If the esteemed delegations would kindly allow me, I will invite Ambassador Skender Durmishi, Acting Secretary General in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to take the floor. Mr. Durmishi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Speaker of the Parliament, Your Excellency Vjosa Osmani, President of the Seecp Parliamentary Assembly, Honorable Vice President of the European Parliament, distinguished heads of delegation of Seecp capitals, heads and other representatives of international organizations, dear all participants in the 7th session of Seecp Parliamentary session, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great honor and pleasure to express our gratitude and special compliments to you on behalf of the Foreign Ministry and Minister Melisa Haradinaj Stupla. Thank you all for participation, especially for your contribution to the 7th session of Seecp Parliamentary Session in Pristina, virtually of course. I have special appreciation to your active cooperation during our Seecp chairmanship in office. Our team in the ministry, Ambassador Sadiq and the other colleagues are extremely satisfied and thankful for understanding and cooperation during entire mandate since June of last year. Same impressions has the team in the Parliament, Ms. Rukol and the other colleagues responsible for implementation of Seecp Parliamentary Assembly agenda under guidance of the President Vjosa Osmani. Chairmanship in office was our first experience to lead such a very important organization as CCP Parliamentary Assembly. We have perceived this role with high responsibility. Now, let me tell you frankly how proud we are today. Happy as well because of the opportunity to invest direct efforts to implement the values and principles of the CCP Parliamentary Assembly. We have perceived this role with high responsibility. Of course, I just repeat again. On the end of our mandate, we are more tightly connected to the programs, goals, priorities of CCP Parliamentary Assembly. Sense and feeling of belonging is there. It has a magic impact, as you know, and it has a tremendous strength of responsibility to the orientation into the very name and good reputation of CCP Parliamentary Assembly. We aim that during our chairmanship in office to affirm and bring new synergy, directive reinforcement, Berlin process, RCC agenda, and all principles of the CCP Parliamentary Assembly. We strongly believe that principles since the founding documents of CCP and very good experiences until this 7th session in Pristina should have wider amplification and promotion because of the strong impact they have to higher goals such are good neighborly relation, regional cooperation, peace, stability, and democracy. CCP Parliamentary Assembly, inter-parliamentary cooperation, parliaments of member countries, parliamentary diplomacy has a role to play, a very important one. Cooperation with European Parliament would be helpful to European Union enlargement processes and integration of the region. As a follow-up, in our foreign ministry, we have advocated strongly to put youth in the very center of attention of the society. I hope you know already that we have a variety of projects, ambitious plans for young generation, fully aware of the impact building projects and overall spirit of CCP Parliamentary Assembly. Our challenges was how to invent more attractive programs and projects to offer them better education, employment, and connectivity and mutual understanding among them. Unfortunately, almost half of the mandate of our chairmanship in office happened in the shadow of threats from pandemics. This situation is everywhere required energy, concentration, efforts from the institutions, foreign ministry as well, to shift and direct towards reduction of the risk from pandemics. Of course, COVID-19 imposed many changes in the agenda, like, for example, ministerial meetings scheduled for February, but many other projects and events as well. Certainly, it was necessary to make changes in the project, but not, for sure, not in our determination to continue and to follow the goals. Such situation made us even more aware of the importance to cooperate and to coordinate with other countries, facilitate communication, economic and medical supplies, etc. One of the lessons learned is CCP Parliamentary Assembly principles are very important, even crucial, so we should stick to these principles even more resolutely. Connectivity, cooperation, communication. This is a way to overcome much easier the challenges to face, like pandemics or any other challenges, disaster or any other threats. Draft declaration of CCP 7th session, I had a short, briefly glance on it, in my opinion, offers plenty of opportunities to further progress in realization of goals and standards of CCP with a strong and direct impact in the much needed, always actual, regional cooperation and good neighborhood relation. I'm here today to tell you that main vectors of declaration, in my impression and opinion, of course, and main messages from the session will be and remains high in the agenda of our foreign ministry and diplomacy. Now, I'm not taking much of your precious time because I'd like to leave it for your debates and discussions. But finally, let me thank you again to all of you and to wish you great successes in the future with the same sense of cooperation and understanding.
Now, before starting with the session, please allow me to pass the floor to the Vice President of the European Parliament as our special guest who honored us with his presence, Honorable Mr. Rainer Wieland from EPP. The floor is yours.
Hello, good morning. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Yeah, okay, thank you. Good morning to everybody. I'm delighted to be able to participate today, at least shortly. I thank to the Speaker of the Parliament, Mrs. Osmani, for the invitation. And I appreciate the role of this Regional Cooperation Council, and I think it works its highly importance in enhancing regional cooperation and the good neighborly relations in the region, as well as supporting the European perspective of Southeast Europe. It is a combination of multilateral and regional cooperation, which is highly important to fight the pandemic, and not at least. I think this Cooperation Council is an important contribution to give a reaffirmation and to strengthen the EU enlargement process, because it is vital. And for that process, your regional cooperation is important mechanism to secure peace and stability and security. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look into the history books, you will find that there is almost no or even no example where democracies are having war against each other. And I say this with all respect, and that you are in a completely different situation, that my country is Germany is for a long time, since now by far more than 70 years, in a part of the continent where we had long and cruel and very often wars. If you look in the history books, democracy is an insurance against war. And if you look further around the world, you possibly will find that there are democratic states which are not very wealthy. But if you look closer, you will not see any country which is for a long time or for eternal time real poor if their democracy is established and it's well-based and anchored in the population. This is why the European Union is strongly advertising that we need democratic processes on this continent. This is the strongest root of the long period of peace we had in Central Europe after the last big world war taking place on our continent. And we support, we are open to all processes of accessions from our continent, and we are ready to give perspective for everybody who is ready to join. I know that the European Union remains a strong driver for reforms and stability, but it's not all about reforms and stability. I think everybody should be clear whether he wants to go into the European Union, because we are not a perfect sample of countries of more or less the same interests, and a lot has to do with the rule of law, with peace and stability, and with democratic developments. And In that respect, in terms of accession to the European Union, I want also take the opportunity to say it very clearly that in many respects, the EU needs to deliver now in order to stay credible. In some respects, we also in the European Union have to do more and better of our homework to make ourselves ready for access. And this is one side. The other side is also, is of course that, and I speak, I hopefully speak not only personal, but also personally and particularly personal. If we talk about regional cooperation, if we talk about regional talks, if we talk about mutual perception of what countries are doing, for me, it's very clear that we made a lot of compromises which were not the best compromises in the past when we talked about access. I'm very sure that that I'm not ready to raise my hand for any further enlargement if countries want to access which do not have settled their things with their neighbors. We saw too many processes in the past where one country was in the European Union and the other outside, and we had a lot of post-access problems with ongoing negotiations for further access. So I do not think that it's a credible contribution to the European Union if a country is accessing this union without having settled the issues with their neighbors. Of course, there are high expectations from the German Council presidency, and I know that Germany want to give a strong contribution, that things became more forward after the German presidency as they are now. Let me get back to the topic of today's discussion, the prospects of regional cooperation in the post-pandemic area. I think special emphasis needs to be put on the focus on youth and promoting educational and job opportunities. But I also want to have to say that this pandemic gives us also a lesson. If there are not very positive things in the context of this pandemic, there are some clear messages and lessons given by this pandemic to us. It needs more cooperation. If you look to the EU countries, how we have a renaissance of borders. I do not believe that every national country in the European Union should go their own way in terms of masks, in terms of protection clothes, in terms of treatment facilities and beds. We should cooperate, we should know what we are doing each other. And if somebody is a bit more forward in a crisis, it should get help from the others and then can give back the help if the crisis is under control and others come into a more difficult situation. And I'm very sure that if we have hotspots on the continent, we cannot organize measurements only along the borders. If there is a hotspot and you need a 50-kilometer circle, you cannot care about the borders. You have to coordinate and to cooperate that 10 meters behind the border is not done completely different, something completely different than on the other side of the border. And I think we need a lot of information. We saw at the Rhine, which is of course also a powerful geographical border, but along the Rhine we had the situation that one country closed down the shops and the other not, and so we were in a certain difficult situation where we clearly saw that possibly a run on the shops is starting. So there should be mutual perception of what different countries are doing. Of course, there is, I mentioned the youth, there is a lot to do, but all in all together, I believe, and not everybody in my country believes that, when I'm going to telling it. I believe that my country and Europe has a chance, if we go step by step through the crisis, that this continent has a chance to leave the crisis stronger than we went into the crisis. But we have to take lessons. We have to be responsible. We have to advertise in our societies that responsible behavior is now on ranking #1. And if we bear that in mind, then I think we have a fair chance to perform very well encountering this huge challenge at the beginning of the 3rd decade in this century. It is important, and I want to conclude by that, it is important that we also address the young people. I know that in your region, this is one of the largest and biggest and most challenging problems, that so many young people want to leave their countries. I was shocked to see the estimates. According to the World Bank, 11% of Kosovo's population will emigrate by 2015, 18% of Albania's population by that time, 28% of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and 30% of Romania's population. This is nothing what we can leave like it is. We have to give perspectives to the young people, and even some people might think this is the wrong time in a pandemic. No, it's exactly the right time to put things possibly in a different order than we have before, and to give opportunities for the young people. Perspective abroad, of course, but a lot of young people want to go back after collecting experiences. So we should open all possibilities to the young people. This is the highest guarantee that they stay in their country, and that they look for their future, for their fortune, where they're speaking the language, where they know the people, and in terms of profession, they can mingle around the continent and come back to their country, and then nobody and countries are also attractive for young people from other countries, and then nobody has to fear to be bleeded out by processes in other countries. I'm ready to support you and to foster cooperation with the European Parliament to strengthen parliamentary culture and dialogue. By that way, only a few days ago, I telephoned with the head of the European Parliament Research Service, the American Congress Bibliothek, the German scientific service in the Bundestag is very powerful. We are developing a parliamentary research service since some years, and I know that they are fostering a network between the parliamentarian services, the scientific services of the parliaments on the continent and beyond. And if there are contacts already, I'm ready to help to enhance them. If there are no contacts up to now, I'm ready to help you to estimate such contacts. And there is once a year a congress with certain issues. I think it's very important that we put parliamentarians of democracies into a position where they have scientific advice, so that they can decide on the basis of facts on their political opinion and positions. Thank you very much indeed. I can listen a few minutes to your discussion, but I hope I also can get somehow a summary later, and I'm happy to follow also in future what you're doing. Thank you, and best wishes to Pristina.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice President. We are very happy that you could join us and contribute through your speech. I would also like to thank you on behalf of the Kosovo Parliament for your continued support throughout the years. As you know, we have received a message from the Hellenic Parliament. You can all read it in the chat section. On behalf of our delegation, let me express our regret that they will not be staying with us for the rest of the session of the Parliamentary Assembly, and we hope that in the future they will be able to join us all. Of course, as they have requested, the reason of their departure will be recorded in the minutes of this meeting. I now invite you all to follow the video message from Mr. Oliver Varhelyi, the European Commissioner for Neighborhood and Enlargement from Hungary. Ladies and gentlemen, while we are waiting for the video message to be ready, let me go once again back to our agenda. We have the necessary quorum, and let me mention the delegations that are present with us. We have Ankara, we have Ljubljana, we have Podgorica, Pristina, of course, we have Sarajevo, we have Skopje, we have Sofia, we have Tirana, we have Zagreb, and we have the representatives of international organizations that have joined us all. You have already expressed your consent with the proposed agenda, which was shown in the screen. So I conclude that the agenda has been adopted as it was distributed to the delegations. Let me now see whether the video message from Mr. Varhelyi is ready. If not, I believe that we can still continue because the video message can even be shown in between. Since all of us are here now, I would like to invite you for the family photo first, before we move on with the speeches, while we are still fresh and not tired from the works of the Parliamentary Assembly. So let me ask our technical team to make sure that we all have a nice smiling photo of all of the delegations present. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Once again, 1, 2, 3. All right, so we did take the photo, thank you all. Let me now, I hope I would have your understanding to perhaps not give the short pause that normally we would before continuing the general debate. Because of the technical difficulties, we did lose a couple of minutes at the beginning. So I will immediately start with the general debate on prospects of the EU enlargement in the post-COVID-19 area, a time for a greater integration. Dear colleagues, let us now start with the debate. And of course, the order of the speakers, as you know, will be by rank and according to the English alphabet, starting with the Seecp Troika. So first of all, I would like to give the floor to His Excellency Mustafa Şentop, the Speaker of the Grand National Assembly of Turkey. Ankara, the floor is all yours.
Teşekkür ediyorum. Sayın Başkan, değerli parlamento başkanları, başkan yardımcıları, değerli milletvekilleri, kıymetli katılımcılar, sizleri Türkiye'den, Ankara'dan sıcak selamlarla, saygıyla selamlıyorum. Güneydoğu Avrupa'da son yüzyıllarda hayata geçmiş en kapsamlı ve en uzun soluklu işbirliği girişimlerinden biri olan Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği sürecinin bir iz düşümü, Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi'nin siz değerli üyeleriyle bir arada olmaktan büyük bir memnuniyet duyuyorum. Bugünkü toplantımızı bütün dünyanın ortak bir sınamadan geçtiği bir dönemde video konferans yoluyla gerçekleştirmek zorunda kaldık. Covid-19 salgınının yansımaları diğer alanlarda olduğu gibi Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi ve dönem başkanı Priştine'nin de çalışmalarına olumsuz yönde etki yaptı. Bununla birlikte bu görevi ilk kez üstlenen Priştine'yi zor şartlara rağmen başarılı geçen dönem başkanlıklarından dolayı kutluyorum. Bu arada tabii Priştine'deki ev sahipliği konusunun da ileri bir tarihte davetin geçerli olabileceğini ümit ediyorum. Priştine'nin liderliğinde Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi'nin başarısını sadece ülkelerimizin değil, Avrupa kıtasının ve nihayetinde tüm dünyanın huzuru, istikrarı ve refahı içinde önemli görmekteyiz. Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi için bugüne kadar en önemli mutabakat noktası Avrupa kurumları ile bütünleşmek olmuştur. Elbette Güneydoğu Avrupa ülkeleri için bu nokta önemini hala kaybetmemiştir. Aynı zamanda bölgenin kendi içinde bütünleşmesi ve Güneydoğu Avrupa'ya özgü işbirliği yapılarının geliştirilmesi de önemlidir. Sorunların çözümünde işbirliği ve eşgüdüm Güneydoğu Avrupa için önemli bir güç çarpanı olacaktır. Bölgedeki istikrarın kalıcı olması tüm bölge ülkelerinin refahı için gereklidir. Öte yandan istikrarsızlık ve çekişme bölgenin kaderini bölge dışı aktörlerin ellerine teslim edecektir. Bu bakış açısıyla Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği sürecinin bağımsız ve güçlü bir işbirliği zemini olarak devam etmesinin bölgenin ortak çıkarlarına hizmet edeceği aşikardır. Türkiye olarak biz Güneydoğu Avrupa'da iyi komşuluk ilişkileri perspektifinde yabancı düşmanlığı, İslamofobi ve göçmen karşıtlığı gibi modern küresel sınamalar karşısında insani değerler temelinde tesis edilmiş ortak duruşun temin ve kurulması vizyonunu paylaşıyoruz. Bölgemizde istikrar, güven ve işbirliğini geliştirerek Güneydoğu Avrupa'yı geleceğe bağlamak istiyoruz. Sayın Başkan, değerli katılımcılar, Covid-19 hastalığına bağlı küresel salgın günümüzün kurum ve anlayışları için geniş ölçekte bir sınav olmuştur. Devletler arası dayanışma ve ilişkiler de bu sınavdan nasibini almıştır. Elbette uluslararası düzeyde tesis edilen temas ve ittifaklar salgın döneminin tecrübeleri ile yeniden şekillenecektir. Bu şekillendirme şüphesiz yöntem ve içerik bakımından farklılaşmalar gösterecektir. Covid-19 küresel salgını yöntem bakımından uluslararası toplantıların video konferans biçiminde gerçekleştirilmesi normunun oluşmasını sağlamıştır. İçerik bakımından ise ittifaklardaki güven ilişkisi ve işbirliklerinin derinliği sorgulamaya açılmıştır. Bu açıdan değerlendirdiğimizde bazı devletler ihtiyaç duyduğu yardımı müttefiklerinden alamamaktan açıkça şikayetçi olmuşlardır. Türkiye ise özverili bir şekilde kendi kaynaklarını paylaşmış, bu zorlu süreçte pek çok ülkeye dostluk elini uzatmıştır. Covid-19 salgını bizlere bir kez daha ortak işbirliği ve mücadelenin önemini hatırlattı. Salgından etkilenen ülkeler her ne kadar ulusal tedbirlere başvurmuş olsa da dünya genelinde bu mücadelenin sonuç doğurması ancak etkin ve koordineli adımlar atılmasıyla mümkün olabilirdi. Bu süreçte biz de vatandaşlarımızı salgından ve doğurduğu sonuçlardan azami şekilde korumaya çalışırken aynı zamanda küresel mücadeleye de elimizden gelen katkıyı sağlamaya çalıştık. Ülkemizden hibe, mali yardım veya tıbbi cihaz ithalat izni talebinde bulunan dünya genelinde 131, Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği Süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi katılımcıları arasında da 10 ülkenin ihtiyaçlarını imkanlarımız ölçüsünde karşılamaya çalıştık ve karşılamaya devam ediyoruz. Keza Covid-19 hastalığının tedavi sürecinde önemli yer tutan suni solunum cihazlarının tedarik edilmesi konusunda da ülkemiz yalnızca yakın coğrafyasında değil, okyanus ötesinde dahi önemli bir rol üstlenmiştir. Tarihimizin en büyük tahliye operasyonlarından birine imza atarak yaklaşık 131 ülkeden 85 bini aşkın vatandaşımızın Türkiye'ye geri dönüşünü sağladık bu süreçte. Bununla birlikte ülkemizin tahliyelerine destek sağladığı ülke sayısı halihazırda 90 olup yabancı tahliyeleri çerçevesinde 36 bini aşkın yabancı ülkemizden güvenli bir şekilde de kendi ülkelerine tahliye edilmiştir. Karayolu taşımacılığında önemli bir konumda olan ülkemiz, Covid-19'la mücadele kapsamında sınır kapılarında sıkı tedbirlere başvurmakla birlikte arz zincirinin kesintisiz şekilde devam etmesini sağlayacak uygulamaları da bölge ülkelerinin talepleri de dikkate alınmak suretiyle hayata geçirmiştir. Değerli katılımcılar, yaşadığımız bu eşi görülmemiş süreçte hızlı ve etkin sonuç alma noktasında bölgesel işbirliğinin önemi daha da öne çıkmıştır. Bu kapsamda Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği Süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi katılımcılarının krizin ilk günlerinden itibaren düzenli irtibat halinde olmaları ve Yeşil Koridor gibi uygulamaları yürürlüğe koymaları güzel bir örnek teşkil etmiştir. Önümüzdeki dönemde de özellikle teknik ve uzmanlık isteyen alanlarda reaksiyon sürelerini kısaltacak bölgesel entegrasyon çabalarının desteklenmesi önem arz etmektedir. Bu çerçevede Güneydoğu Avrupa bölgesindeki ülkelerin ihtiyaçlarını dikkate alarak bölgeye özel strateji ve projeler belirlenmesinde Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği Süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi ve onun operasyonel kolu olan Bölgesel İşbirliği Konseyi'nin önemli rol üstlenebileceğini değerlendiriyorum. Parlamenterler olarak bölgeye yönelik çalışmaların teşvik edilmesi hususunda gerekli kolaylıkların sağlanmasında üstümüze düşen vazifeyi de yerine getirmeye hazır olmalıyız. Bu anlayışla gerekli hallerde daha fazla bölgesel entegrasyonu mümkün kılacak adımlar için yasal zeminin hazırlanmasında kolaylaştırıcı rol oynamalıyız. 24 Haziran'da gerçekleştirilecek Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği Süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi zirvesinin ardından Türkiye olarak 2020-2021 Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği Süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi dönem başkanlığını üstleneceğiz. Dönem başkanlığı önceliklerimizi belirlerken Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği Süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi'nin temel prensipleri olan kapsayıcılık ve bölgesel sahiplenme anlayışını esas aldık. Bölgesel sahiplenme ve kapsayıcılık ilkelerini gözeterek bölgede özgün işbirliği mekanizmalarının geliştirilmesi üzerinde de hassasiyetle durmaktayız. Bu bağlamda Türkiye'nin bölgenin kendi inisiyatifiyle inşa edilmiş yegane girişimi olarak önem taşıyan Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği Süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi'ne ayrı önem verdiğinin altını çizmek istiyorum. Bu çerçevede bölge ülkeleri için ortak sıralama teşkil eden konulardaki çalışmalarımıza katkı sağlayacak proje, etkinlik ve üst düzeyli toplantı takvimimizi hali hazırda oluşturmuş bulunuyoruz. Bugünkü toplantımızın da ana başlığı olan Covid-19 sonrası dönemdeki işbirliği de şüphesiz önceliklerimiz arasında yer alacaktır. Bunun yanı sıra göç, beyin göçü, insan kaynağı niteliğinin arttırılması, bölge içi ulaşım bağlantılarının güçlendirilmesi, bölge içi ve dışı ticaretin geliştirilmesi, güvenlik, eğitim, kültür ve turizm gibi konularda da öncelik alanlarımız arasında yer almaktadır. Parlamenter alandaki faaliyetlerimizi de bu öncelikler çerçevesinde şekillendirmeye başlamış bulunuyoruz. Sayın Başkan, kıymetli katılımcılar, sizlerin de bildiği üzere uluslararası plandaki parlamenter diplomasi çalışmalarının önemli bir örneğini temsil eden Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği Süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi kurulduğu 2014 yılından bugüne kadar bölgesel işbirliğine önemli katkılarda bulunmuştur. Bölgesel işbirliğinin parlamenter boyutunun güçlendirilmesine yönelik çalışmalar kapsamında gündeme gelen Avrupa İşbirliği süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi'nin daimi bir sekreteryaya sahip olması fikrini de ilk günden bu yana destekledik. Daimi sekreteryanın daha fazla gecikmeksizin tesis edilmesi, parlamenter diplomasi alanındaki çalışmalarımıza etkinlik, görünürlük ve katma değer sağlamasının yanı sıra Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi'nin operasyonel kolu olan Bölgesel İşbirliği Konseyi ile de daha somut bir işbirliği tesis edilmesine fırsat verecektir. Bu çerçevede İstanbul ve Sofya'nın birlikte aday olduğu bu sürecin önceki toplantılarda ortaya çıkan rotasyona dayalı uzlaşı formülü çerçevesinde neticelendirilmesini arzu ettiğimizi daha önce açıklamıştık. Bu tutumumuzu geçtiğimiz yılın Ocak ayında Türkiye Büyük Millet Meclisi'nin ziyaretleri sırasında kabul ettiğim Bulgaristan Ulusal Meclisi Dışişleri Komisyonu heyetine de bizzat tekrarlamıştım. Keza Sekreteriya'ya ilk 5 sene Sofya'nın ev sahipliği yapması ve genel sekreterin Türk vatandaşı olması, ikinci 5 sene içinde Sekreteriyanın İstanbul'a taşınarak genel sekreterlik görevinin Bulgar vatandaşına devredilmesine yönelik Sofya'nın teklifinin kabul edildiğini de 2019 yılının Haziran ayında yazılı olarak Bulgaristan Ulusal Meclisi'ne iletmiştik. Ancak Bulgar mevkidaşlarımızın uzlaşı formülüne ilişkin kendi tekliflerine nihai onaylarını vererek sürecin bir an önce sonuçlanmasını beklerken geçen haftaki daimi komite toplantısında bu konuda uzlaşı sağlanamadığını ve Bulgaristan Ulusal Meclisi'nin rotasyon formülünü kabul etmeyeceğini, daimi olarak ev sahipliği yapma arzusunu açıkladığını üzülerek öğrendim. Yıllardır üzerinde tartışıla gelen ve Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi'ne önemli katma değeri olacak bu konuda Bulgaristan tarafının beklenmeyen şekilde olumsuz tavır alması bizde hayal kırıklığı meydana getirmiştir. Bu vesileyle ülkemizin uzlaşı formülüne yönelik desteğinin yaşanan bu olumsuz gelişmeye rağmen değişmediğini yinelemek isterim. Yıllardır müzakereleri süren bu konuya ilişkin bir çalışma grubu kurulmasına yönelik teklifin ise ilave zaman ve enerji kaybına sebep olacağını değerlendiriyorum. Dolayısıyla yıllar içinde belirli bir olgunluğa erişen Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi'nin kurumsallaşmasına ilişkin çalışmaların bir an önce sonuçlandırılmasını temenni ediyorum. Değerli katılımcılar, Türkiye meclisimizin açılışının 100. yıl dönümüne denk gelen bu yılda Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği süreci Parlamenter Asamblesi dönem başkanlığını devralacaktır. Covid-19 küresel salgını sebebiyle bu seneki toplantımızı video konferans yöntemiyle gerçekleştirmekteyiz. Fakat küresel bir tehdit haline gelen bu salgını uluslararası dayanışma içinde atlatacağımızı ve gelecek yılki 8. Genel Kurul toplantısını Türkiye'de fiziki olarak düzenleyeceğimizi ümit ediyorum. Sözlerime son verirken bugünkü toplantı vesilesiyle Priştine'ye bir kez daha teşekkür ederken önümüzdeki toplantılar vesilesiyle sizleri Türkiye'de ağırlayabilmeyi ümit ediyorum. Hepinizi saygıyla selamlıyorum.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I do also hope that we will be able to overcome this pandemic and join you all in Turkey. And once again, express the congratulations on your centennial anniversary of the Grand National Assembly. I now give the floor to His Excellency Ivan Brajovic, the Speaker of Parliament from Montenegro. The floor is yours.
Teşekkür ederim.
Poštovana predsjednice Sadriju, kolege predsjednici parlamenta, poslanici. Drago mi je što i na ovaj način možemo da komuniciramo, da razgovaram sa mojim dragim prijateljima poput predsjednika Šentopa ili predsjednika Ručija. I želio bih da zahvalim predsjednici Vjosi Osmani Sadriju na organizaciji ovog video zasjedanja. U datim okolnostima ovo je odlična prilika da razgovaramo i razmijenimo iskustva kako bi došli do modela za dalje unapređenje naših odnosa i saradnje, posebno u neobičajnim okolnostima pandemije koronavirusom. Dragi kolege, nove okolnosti traže i nova, brza rješenja. Potrebno je čuti različite iskustva kako bismo došli do što povoljnijih rezultata za naše građane. Sa ponosom želim da podsjetim da je Crna Gora bila posljednja evropska država u kojoj se pojavio virus, kao i prva korona-free destinacija u kojoj nekoliko nedjelja nije bilo novozaraženih građana. Nezavisno od veličine države, u slučaju Crne Gore pokazalo se da su ozbiljnost i odgovornost institucija i građana, zatim pravovremene ne uvijek popularne odluke, kao i dobra koordinacija i brza prilagodljivost dali kvalitetne rezultate za naše građane. Stoga smo prvu fazu uspješno prošli, a nastavit ćemo istim kapacitetom da situaciju održimo što boljom kako u zdravstvenom, tako i u ekonomskom pogledu. U okolnostima pandemije izazvane koronavirusom, svaka država je pokazala na kojim vrijednostima i principima počiva, kako tretira svoje građane, ali i kako se ponaša u međunarodnim odnosima. U Crnoj Gori nikad nije bilo dileme kojim putem idemo i što želimo da postignemo. Ni u najpovoljnijim, ni u najtežim vremenima nismo mijenjali prioritete, a to su građanska, stabilna, demokratska Crna Gora, članica NATO-a i Europske unije. Uostalom, tu viziju smo zapisali u preambuli našeg Ustava 2007. godine. Kolege poslanici, susrete kao što je ovaj, kada govorimo o značaju dobrosusjedske saradnje, moram da iskoristim i kažem da se sada Crna Gora suočava sa još jednim ozbiljnim izazovom. Svjedočimo grubim i neprincipijelnim pritiscima na našu suverenost u donošenju odluka i u sprovođenju zacrtanih evropskih prioriteta sa ciljem izazivanja podjela i tenzije u Crnoj Gori. Uprkos tome, ispunjavajući postavljene ciljeve, još 2006. godine zacrtane, danas Crna Gora ima snage i kapaciteta da se odupre svim pritiscima i atacima, nastavljajući da ide naprijed zacrtanim putem, vodeći računa prije svega o svojim građanima i nacionalnim interesima, ne mijenjajući svoju dobrosusjedsku politiku. Znamo da u ovdje prisutnim zemljama imamo pouzdane saveznike koji nam pomažu da jačajući naše institucije, vladavinu prava i ekonomiju, što prije prođemo put do članstva u Evropskoj uniji. Kolegi iz država članica Evropske unije, važno je da i pored izazova koje imate, držite vrata Unije otvorenim za zemlje jugoistočne Evrope, jer to predstavlja zajednički, politički, ekonomski i bezbjednosni interes. Svjedočimo i da je nova Evropska komisija mnogo više zainteresovana za države jugoistočne Evrope. Puno je očekivanja od novog pristupa politike integracija, koji bi ojačao države i pripremio ih za članstvo. Poštovane kolege, sa zadovoljstvom želim da vam kažem i da je Crna Gora dobila od Evropske komisije zeleno svjetlo za otvaranje preostalog pregovaračkog poglavlja 8. Pred nama je sada novi period da kao jedina država kandidat sa svim otvorenim pregovaračkim poglavljima uđemo u sljedeću fazu što brže integracije u Evropsku uniju. U Crnoj Gori je i tek kako prepoznata činjenica i cijenjena također da je u vrhu prioriteta Evropske unije i ekonomski oporavak našeg regiona kroz konkretnu finansijsku pomoć. U tom smislu, ohrabrujuće poruke koje smo čuli ranije od komesara Varheljija, kao i predsjednika Hrvatske, gospodina Milanovića, koji je juče boravio u zvaničnoj posjeti Crnoj Gori, nakon inauguracije prvoj posle Slovenije i Austrije, i takve simbolične gestove razumijemo kao prepoznavanje istinskih napora Crne Gore u politici dobrosusjedstva, dosljednoj i bez izuzetaka. Dragi kolege, od velikog je značaja da se unese nova dinamika u postojeće odnose integracije. Uz jasnu političku volju kandidata i zabilježeni napredak očekujemo konkretnu podršku Evropske unije vezano za politiku proširenja. Ona ne bi smjela da ostane nedorečena jer bi izazvala još veće posljedice po kredibilnost jedne od najuspješnijih politika širenja demokratije, mira, stabilnosti i prosperiteta. Dragocjena je vidljiva podrška Evropskog parlamenta koji poziva evropske institucije da dinamičnije djeluju, posjećajući da ne smije biti narušen temelj individualnih zasluga svake zemlje kandidata. Poštovani učesnici, trenutni period neizvjesnosti zbog pandemije COVID-19 imaće posljedice po ekonomsku, društveno-socijalnu i geopolitičku situaciju u svijetu. Prioritet svih parlamenta mora biti više nego ikad odbrana demokratskih vrijednosti i solidarnosti u svim okolnostima. Moramo dati pozitivan podsticaj na nacionalnom, evropskom i međunarodnom nivou, a našu saradnju u okviru parlamentarne skupštine Seecp vidim kao dragocjen doprinos. Već smo dokazali da u Skupštini Crne Gore imate odgovornog partnera u našoj zajedničkoj evropskoj budućnosti. Radujemo se našoj daljoj saradnji. U ime Skupštine Crne Gore i u svoje ime izražavam želje za dobro zdravlje građana vaših država i brz ekonomski oporavak. Hvala vam na pažnji.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your contribution and your kind presence. I would like to now give the floor to His Excellency Gramos Ruci, the Speaker of the Assembly of the Republic of Albania.
Faleminderit, nderuar Presidenti e Asamblesë Kombëtare të Procesit të Bashkëpunimit Evropë-Shqipërindore, zonja Doni, nderuar kolegë të parlamenteve të vendeve anëtare, nderuar kryesisht të delegacioneve dhe njëherë dhe anëtarëve të delegacioneve, nderuar përfaqësues të organizatave ndërkombëtare, zonja dhe zotë të rinj, është për të ardhur keq që sot nuk mundët të ishim fizikisht në Prishtinë për të marrë pjesë në këtë sesion. Me shpresë dhe me besimin se së afërmi do të kemi mundësi të takohemi nga afër, duke qenë të bindur se pandemia do të marrë fund edhe për vendet tona si për gjithë njerëzimin dhe do të i rikthehemi normalitetit dhe gëzimeve të jetës. Më së pari më lejoni të falenderoj Kuvendin e Kosovës që edhe pse në kushte jo të zakonshme ka bërë një organizim të shkëlqyer të kësaj mbledhje, si dhe të falenderoj ata për përkushtimin që kanë treguar gjatë presidencës për forcimin e mëtejshëm të organizatës sonë. Sigurisht që kjo ishte një presidencë në një kohë jo normale, po puna dhe përkushtimi juaj, zonja Osmani, e bën këtë presidencë si dhe këtë sesion produktiv dhe shumë të efektshëm. Zonja dhe zotëri, tema për cilën po diskutojmë sot është aktuale dhe shumë e rëndësishme për rajonin tonë, për të thelluar dhe mëtej bashkëpunimin dhe mirëkuptimin tonë në proceset integruese, në të cilat janë përfshirë të gjitha vendet tona. Inkurajimi i gjithë formave të dialogut dhe thellimi i bashkëpunimit parlamentar është një parim që uzon diplomacitë tona parlamentare në vendet respektive. Bashkëpunimi, koordinimi, integrimi i vendeve tona është një domosdoshmëri për të balluar sfidat që kemi përpara, si kjo pandemi, por dhe sfidave të kahershme, si punësimi, si rritja ekonomike, ulja e varfërisë e tjera. Fokusi i Asamblesë Parlamentare është bazuar në solidaritetin dhe mirëkuptimin, si dhe pjesëmarrjen aktive dhe konstruktive të të gjitha vendeve tona. Jam i bindur që shtyllat tona të përkushtimit rajonal, solidaritetit dhe gjithëpërfshirjes do të vazhdojnë të shërbejnë për forcimin e bashkëpunimit rajonit tonë, rritjes së kontakteve midis gjitha vendeve tona, konsolidimit dhe përpjekjeve tona në përmbushjen e sfidave të sigurisë dhe materializimi i projekteve të përbashkëta ekonomike, si dhe në përshpejtimin e ritmeve të integrimit evropian për të gjitha vendet e rajonit tonë. Tani më shumë se kurrë është domosdoshme që vendet tona të ndajnë përvojat e tyre në luftën e pandemisë Covid-19, në mënyrë që të jemi të gatshëm të gjithë për sfidat e tjera të mundshme në të ardhmen. Fatmirësisht, vendet tona u goditën më pak se sa rajonet dhe vendet e tjera të botës për sa i përket humbjeve njerëzore. Por nga pikpamja e ndikimit dhe rritjes ekonomike, mirëqenies popullsisë dhe ritmeve të zhvillimit, pasojat edhe për vendet tona ishin tokaj të rënda. Bashkëpunimi jon bëhet më emergjent, po të mbajmë parasysh se edhe pse kishim humbje më të vogla jetësh njerëzore, për kthimin në normalitet të ekonomisë, të zhvillimit, të mirëqenies, të shëndoshjes sektorit privat, të shërbimeve publike ndaj qytetarëve, të gjitha vendet tona pa përjashtim do të ndeshemi me më shumë vështirësi se sa vendet e tjera më të zhvilluara. Unë kam besim se përveç mbështetjes së vendeve tona do t'u japin njëri tjetrit, në këtë aspekt nuk do të na mungojë as ndihma e Bashkimit Evropian, siç ndodhi edhe pas letrës që i dërguan presidentit Parlamentit Evropian, zoti Sassoli, të cilin duhet ta falenderojmë për gatishmërinë dhe vullnetin për ndihmuar rajonin tonë. Në përfundim më lejoni t'ju uroj punime të mbara, punime dhe seancë parlamentare dhe shumë suksese Turqisë si kryesuese e radhës për vitin 2020-2021. Në emër të Kuvendit të Shqipërisë, ju lutem më lejoni të përfundoj duke shprehur mirënjohjen tonë të sinqertë ndaj kryesisë së Kosovës dhe veçanërisht ndaj presidentes Vjosa Osmani për organizimin dhe për kushtimin e tyre. Faleminderit për vëmendje dhe njëherë punë të mbarë dhe suksese këtij sesioni.
Faleminderit shumë zoti kryetar. Thank you so much for your contribution, Your Excellency. Now I give the floor to Mr. Goran Misovski, the Vice President of the Assembly of the Republic of North Macedonia. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Dear Ms. Osmani, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, allow me, on behalf of the President of the Assembly of the Republic of North Macedonia, Mr. Talat Xheferi, as well as on my own behalf, to express how pleased I am to be part of the 7th plenary session of NTI, which is being held for the first time in this unusual virtual way, but certainly in line with the condition imposed by the global threat called COVID-19, and of course, we are adjusting. At the same time, I would like to express my congratulations to the chair of the session, the distinguished Ms. Osmani, the Assembly of the Republic of Kosovo, and the Secretariat who organized this session, impeccably establishing new ways of communication, sharing views, opinions, giving suggestions, and of course, voting of the final document, the joint declaration. Dear friends, all of us, the states, they are part of this important forum, which is in foundation has aimed to strengthen the good neighborly relations between all countries in South Europe, whereby we mutually help each other to make this region grow into a region of peace, security, stability, and cooperation. We all have one and only goal, that is full integration into the European and Euro-Atlantic structures. Of course, the only and the most effective way to achieve this goal is to build honest, transparent, and intensive relations on a regular basis, and to make the best use of all the mechanisms available to overcome the smaller, the bigger, the new, and the long-lasting disputes. Because in order to find mutually acceptable solutions, it is essential that there is sincere will be desire to achieve the while it is not measured how much one has gained of how much one has lost. At the end of the day, we, our children, our citizens who live with the consequences of our good or bad decision are both winners and losers. The Republic of North Macedonia remains an active and constructive partner in regional cooperation, and we are strongly committed to promoting the principles of good neighborliness in the region. We are committed to deepening the regional cooperation through enhanced participation and influence in regional initiatives such as the Southeast Europe Cooperation Process, the Regional Cooperation Council, CAFTA, and the Energy Committee, the Central European Initiative, the Migration, Asylum, Refugees, Regional Initiative, RACO, the Adriatic Union Initiative, the Brdo-Brioni Process, and others. I believe you agree with me that North Macedonia is a great example for what and how much can be achieved if there is strong will and a clear vision. The two agreements we signed with our neighbors, the Republic of Bulgaria and the Hellenic Republic, have already yielded the first tangible results. We are already the 30th full member of the NATO Military Political Alliance, where even before we become a member, we contributed with all capacity to achieve the maintained peace in the world. From now on, we will be doing so with much bigger enthusiasm. In terms of the European Union, we have worked diligently and seriously, and we have the overwhelming support of our international friends, so we hope for a positive outcome in the near future. All this is the result of an open and direct dialogue with an open mind and transparent goal: economic prosperity and better quality of life for our citizens and the future of our countries and the region. Dear friends, unfortunately, the focus in the recent moment and in the coming as well will be something that is perhaps the most vulnerable and something before which we are most helpless. That is our health, the health of our citizens and the economies. We are aware that the global health and social challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic are a global threat that has hung over the entire planet Earth, attacking both small and large states, both countries with strong and weak economies and health systems. At the same time, it imposes conditions of physical distance, although we as human beings are accommodated to being close to feel the warm support offered by a good neighbor, a heartfelt friend, and sincere co-worker. However, we will succeed because we have this great platform for regional cooperation, the Seecp Parliamentary Assembly, which realizes of the pillars of regional ownership, inclusiveness, and mutual respect, and it is excellent forum for exchange of views and constructive dialogue. And I know that through a multinational effort to address this pandemic, we shall all work together to give our best to alleviate the negative impact of the people and the economy. And we will be in solidarity with the families on the victim of the COVID-19 pandemic. I am convinced that we will think the same, that we need a coordinated congratulations response of protection by sharing experience and knowledge. Dear colleagues, I would like to emphasize that all of us who are in a position and have the power to make a difference at the same time have a duty to promote the interests of our countries and our citizens by advancing good neighborly relations and regional cooperation, because at the President of the World Health Organization said, I quote, "No one is safe until we are all safe." Thank you, Ms. Osmani. Thank you, Pristina. Thank you, Pristina.
Thank you so much for your kind words and for your contribution, Your Excellency. And now I give the floor to the delegation from Sofia, Ms. Evgenia Angelova, who's the acting head of the Bulgarian delegation to the Seecp Parliamentary Assembly. The floor is yours, Sofia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dear colleagues and guests, I would like to begin my speech by paying tribute to the efforts made by our hosts in the Pristina Parliament to organize this plenary session, of course, as well as the previous international conference and meeting of the Standing Committee, in the difficult conditions of a pandemic which we are dealing with. For all of us, this situation is a challenge, not only internally, not only in health and economic terms, but also at the level of bilateral and multilateral international contacts, at the level of parliamentary diplomacy and regional cooperation. We are all learning, we're all learning how to flexibly transform our contacts in the field of international cooperation to find effective forms to work. I therefore also welcome the choice of the topic at our plenary session and hope that our discussion will be effective and will set out the direction on which the Southeast European region will develop in the new situation. The COVID-19 pandemic represents an unprecedented challenge for the whole world. This is a public health emergency, but it's also an economic, social, and human crisis. In order to permanently combat the pandemic, We need to take urgent, decisive, and comprehensive action at national, regional, and of course, global level. The actions must be closely linked to the ongoing global health crisis, well coordinated, proportionate, transparent, and always respect the fundamental rights of everyone. At this crucial time for the global economy, which is facing systematic challenges, it is namely the regional level, composed of multilateral institutions and integration blocks based on the principles of connectivity and good neighborliness that has the potential to work in the interests of a wide range of people. The European Union is the most prominent example of regional integration. In the area of trade integration, the European Union is the largest customs union in the world, as well as a regional bloc with the deepest and most institutionalized framework for economic integration. Building on its principles and guided by its founding documents, the Southeast European cooperation process has the prospect of establishing itself as a leading platform for cooperation in Southeast Europe. Driven by the understanding that cooperation and solidarity are the most effective responses to this pandemic, we should focus on improving socioeconomic performance, creating favorable conditions for business and investment, so that the whole region recovers more quickly by stepping up trade and commodity exchange, strengthening infrastructure and transport connectivity, attracting more foreign investment and tourism. This is about acting in a coordinated manner to address the wider effects of the different dimensions of the crisis, to find a sustainable mechanism of cooperation between our regional organizations and the European institutions. We all have witnessed experts and international organizations, including the United Nations, the European Commission, and the European Parliament, calling for coordinated approaches to deal with the crisis at regional and global level. Regional cooperation projects come to the front line as forms that can help countries jointly meet the challenges of COVID-19. In practice, the crisis has proved to be an opportunity for more regional integration, for adequate action in the interests of the people and for the protection of the human, social, economic, and political integrity of the regional area. We all hope that we are now moving from an urgent phase of dealing with the pandemic to a recovery phase. This is why it's particularly important at this time to mobilize and distribute more than 7 billion euros through various European Union instruments in support of the Western Balkans and Eastern partner countries to address the immediate health and humanitarian needs resulting from the COVID-19 epidemic, as well as to help contain the economic downturn of the pandemic. Dear colleagues, the Southeast European cooperation process will continue its work and will continue to work on the implementation of pre-established priorities. But I trust you will all agree that the fight against COVID-19 and its socio-economic consequences must remain high on our agenda, both in the work of the 3 standing committees and the other bodies of the organization. Finally, I thank you on behalf of myself and on behalf of the Bulgarian Parliament to Mrs. Osmani as our host and Southeast European Cooperation Process Parliamentary Assembly Chairperson for the excellent organization of this year's concluding session, as well as for the Presidency's efforts to direct regional cooperation towards pragmatic goals in the interest of the citizens of the region. I wish you all good health and success in your work. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much for your kind words, and thank you very much for your contribution. Now I turn to Zagreb and I give the floor to Mr. Marko Vesligaj, the head of the Croatian delegation to the Seecp Parliamentary Assembly. Zagreb, the floor is yours.
Hello, dear colleagues. Is everything okay? Well, dear colleagues, at first, let me express my regret that it was not possible to have this meeting in Pristina and to have a chance to meet each other in person and to exchange views and experience in the usual way. Unfortunately, we are faced to a lot of challenges that we have to cope with. Outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic and not less important economic crisis of still unknown proportions. Above all these challenges, like those we are discussing during previous meetings, especially social inclusions, fake news, climate changes, all these problems are becoming more complex. What is needed to get out of these difficulties, strong and coherent, is unity. Unity is what we need today. Therefore, we welcome the Pristina presidency's decision to choose the topics related to the regional cooperation in the post-pandemic area and, of course, the accession process. We find encouraging that the draft declaration also shows strong commitment of all participants for the cooperation and the good neighborly relationships. This draft declaration recognizes this initiative as a facilitator to the participants who are on their European Union way to harmonize their legislative framework with the European Union acquis. And finally, it highlights the need for the coordinated response on the COVID-19 pandemic and the economic crisis. As we are aware, the European Union has expressed support for the European perspective of the Western Balkans and reaffirmed its commitment to enlargement as a key policy of the European Union and therefore decided to enhance the accession process. European Union also clearly showed its dedication to the Western Balkan by providing significant financial and other support to the region in facing of the COVID-19 pandemic. We are in Croatia very proud that one of the priorities of the Croatian presidency of the Council was the European Union should be a global leader and strong partner to its neighbors, and of course the guarantee for the progress and stability in the Southeast Europe. European and West Balkans Summit held in Zagreb as one of the main events of the Croatian presidency sent very strong political support to the Western Balkan on its way to the EU. In the Zagreb Declaration, European Union confirmed continuity of the European perspective for the Western Balkan and sent a message of the European Union political support for the reform efforts. As no less important, in the Zagreb Declaration, the leaders of the Western Balkan confirmed their commitment to the European values and the principles: democracy, rule of law, fight against the corruption, good governance, and of course the compliance with the human rights. The Zagreb Declaration also emphasized the importance of the regional cooperation and strengthening of the good neighbor relationships. Therefore, I hope that our mutual work will be fruitful and that it will foster cooperation among us in these times of crisis in order to provide better life for all our citizens. Thank you very much on behalf of all the Croatian delegation.
Thank you so much, colleague. It was a pleasure to hear from all of you, from your delegations. Now, before I turn to interventions from regional and international organizations, I'd like to now try to have our technical team show the video from Commissioner Varhelyi.
Honorable members of Parliament, let me start by congratulating Kosovo on their successful chairmanship of the Southeast European cooperation process in this challenging time. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the importance and the need for regional cooperation. No country could face this pandemic alone. Working together with neighbors has been essential and continues to be. In this crisis, the European Union stood by the Western Balkans. We launched a support package of 3.3 billion euros to respond to the immediate medical need and address the socio-economic impact of the pandemic. We are also providing a significant support package to the Eastern Partnership and have mobilized immediate support to Turkey under the Facility for Refugees. Our work has not ended there. The leaders of the EU and of the Western Balkans at the May virtual Zagreb summit tasked the Commission to come forward with a substantial economic and investment plan for the Western Balkans. We will present this plan in the autumn to support the long-term economic recovery and to bring the region closer to the EU. There will be a strong focus on connectivity, specifically transport and energy, as well as green and digital transition, for example, gradual decarbonization of energy production and building broadband internet network. We will also support the economy that works for the people with a focus on education, health and social protection systems and research and innovation. Economic recovery in the Western Balkans also requires a strong commitment to regional cooperation and good neighborly relations. The establishment of green lanes within the region has demonstrated the capacity to address common challenges swiftly and effectively. Cooperation between the governments of the region, the Regional Cooperation Council and the EU will also be essential for developing a new vision for the regional economic area. A common regional market is critical to increase the attractiveness and competitiveness of the region. And to help it to speed up the recovery from the aftermath of the pandemic, notably to attract investors looking for diversification of supply and shorter value chains. Reforms will continue to be critical, also for the economic recovery, particularly in the area of the rule of law and the fight against corruption, on the functioning of the democratic institutions and public administration. Without these, no credible business environment and investment climate can be created and maintained. We expect the partners to continue delivering. We will also support the recovery in the Eastern Partnership region, with which we aim to build further an ambitious and sustainable relationship, increasing our resilience. And we will work together with Turkey to address the challenges of economic recovery. We also look forward to working with Turkey as the next chairman in office of the Southeast European cooperation process. Turkey's continued focus on the priorities identified by the Kosovo chairmanship, such as connectivity, youth, culture and tourism, fits well into the EU's agenda. The development of the Southeast European 2030 strategy will provide another opportunity to further reinforce the synergies between European Union and the Southeast European cooperation process. I wish you a fruitful discussion and looking forward to receiving its outcome.
I'd like to thank Commissioner Varhelyi for his kind message, and I now turn to interventions from regional and international organizations. Let me start by inviting Mr. Liam Byrne, who's the chair of the Parliamentary Network of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. The floor is yours, Liam. Thank you so much for joining us. Apparently, Liam is not here for the moment, although he was with us from the very beginning. While we try to contact him, let me move on by inviting Ms. Diana Kancheva, who's the head of the Regional Secretariat for the Parliamentary Cooperation in Southeast Europe. The floor is yours, Ms. Kancheva. While we're waiting for Ms. Kancheva as well to join us, let me invite Ms. Agnia Antanovica, who's from the Baltic Assembly. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone, dear participants of the session of the Southeast European Cooperation Process Parliamentary Organization. I am glad to be here with you. Unfortunately, President of the Baltic Assembly, Professor Adu Must, was not able to attend the session. However, I will read out his greeting to all of you. On behalf of the Baltic Assembly, I am pleased to convey most heartfelt greetings to the session of your Parliamentary Assembly. Global COVID-19 pandemic has undoubtedly had considerable impact on most aspects of our lives. And overcoming social, political, and economic consequences will require tremendous effort for our region and all our citizens. In difficult times, long-standing cooperation and support of partners is appreciated and valued more than ever. Dynamic parliamentary dialogue between our assemblies, as well as successful cooperation in various regional formats, allows us to share ideas and experiences, enhances relations between our regions, and encourages mutual understanding. Undoubtedly, parliamentary diplomacy always plays a very important role in addressing the demanding challenges of today's world. As our countries are slowly emerging from COVID-19 pandemic, we wish fortitude and resilience to the people of our region and wisdom of our leaders in tackling post-crisis challenges. In conclusions, allow me to say that crisis can also present an opportunity to explore more new alternatives in which to continue cooperation, even if it's temporary. Digital format of your session is a good example. I wish the session great success and look forward to continued strong cooperation once the global fight against COVID-19 pandemic is behind us. Thank you very much.
Can we please check? Thank you so much for your message from the Baltic Assembly, Ms. Antanovica. Can we check whether we have Mailinda Brego from the RCC present, please, so that she can take the floor? They are apparently having some technical difficulties, so we'll just wait for a minute or two while they try to resolve this from their end. I hope for your understanding. So it's a pleasure to welcome Mailinda Breco, who will be speaking on behalf of the Regional Cooperation Council Secretariat. The floor is yours, Mailinda.
Yosa, thank you very much, and thank you for inviting. I'm glad to see you here, and thank you for this opportunity. So I'm not going to take much of your time. You know that this is quite a busy day for us as well. We are going to launch today the Balkan Barometer 2020, and I'm pretty confident that some of the data in there will really open up a window for discussions in each economy of the region. But I'm happy to participate at the 7th plenary session of the Parliamentary Assembly of Seecp. I would really like to thank the Seecp chairmanship in office for their efforts to see the implementation of the calendar of activities in times of adversity. Regional cooperation is never without challenges. None of us is without challenges. And as the saying goes, and we all know it, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I just hope that in the most of challenging times, the cooperation will be rewarding. It is in these times that our interdependency and joint strength came to the core. And that is what the Green Corridors or the Green Lane Initiative taught us, and will remain crucial in the period of social economic recovery after the COVID period. I would like as well to warmly welcome the work of the Seecp Parliamentary Assembly, General Committee on Social Development, Education, Research and Science, and the 2020 Sofia resolution. The social economic inclusivity and integration of vulnerable groups, women and youth, represents the cornerstone of the European values and one of our main pillars under the human capital development. On the other hand, you know that RCC has always been and will continue to be committed to assist the Seecp platform, including its parliamentary dimension as per its statute. I'm confident that the idea that was expressed years ago, and we have shared it among ourselves, that Parliament should be an integral part of the Berlin process as well, is becoming a reality. So I do hope that the parliaments will have to be deeply involved in the process, in the Berlin process and regional cooperation as well, as the executive branches of regional governments are already in. But as I mentioned, that the Balkan Barometer will be launched today. You might read and you'll see some very interesting data in that. I would start with a pessimistic one, but don't take me ill. So I think that if we don't really tell the truth, it might be difficult to change and improve our realities. Parliaments and judiciary, but political parties on top, are the institutions less trusted by an overwhelming majority of citizens in the region. The good news is that 77% of citizens agree that the regional cooperation can contribute positively to the economic, political, or security situation of each individual economy. But as I mentioned, it's a pity that the public institutions are considered as the most untrusted and institutions in the region. And as I mentioned, the parliaments are tied among least trusted institutions by 2/3 of respondents. The dissatisfaction that prevails in the region, it's not good news, but the accurate reflections of the reality, I think, should be first steps to trigger an increased awareness, to demand a serious attention in strengthening the participatory democracy and ultimately improve the public trust in institutions. So I would just like to tell you briefly that the RCC is drafting the long-term strategy for the next decade of Southeast Europe, with high consideration of involving all regional stakeholders in the process, national administrations and the EU, but also citizens, private sector, civil sector, experts, and others. this strategy that will start to be prepared and cooked after we'll have concluded and endorsed the new REA 2 document. Document will be the Southeast New Strategy, so the second one that we are working will be in line with the Sustainable Development Goals and global trends. And we hope that will provide some interesting and smart policy to address the emerging challenges directly affecting the quality of life in our region. So in that spirit, I would commend your job, your work, and the whole chairmanship in office of Kosovo during this year. By 1st of July, the chairmanship in office will pass to Turkey. I would kindly invite you all to pass the declaration proposed by the Standing Committee of Seecp Parliamentary Assembly. And at the very end, so last but not least, let me once again reiterate the fact that RCC stands ready to assist and facilitate the cooperative mechanisms of Southeast cooperation process and its parliamentary dimension. So, said that Gjosa, faleminderit shumë, suksese të gjithëve, edhe paçi një ditë mbar, dhe nëse keni kohë, stay tuned at 4 o'clock for the Balkan Barometer launch.
Faleminderit shumë, Aylinda. Thank you so much. We really look forward to seeing what's in the barometer at 4 o'clock. I'd like to check whether we have Mr. Byrne here. If not, perhaps while we're trying to connect to him, to just mention that as you are already informed, there has been a continuous debate regarding the seat of the permanent secretariat of Seecp in the past years. With regards to this issue, there have been some attempts to resolve this, and there have been proposals, among others, from Ankara and Sofia. Until now, the Seecp members have not reached an agreement. This year, we at the Parliament have discussed, and as you know, our standing committee has proposed that the HQ of the Seecp to also add up another proposal for Pristina for plenty of reasons. I would like to thank all the members of the standing committee for supporting our proposals, to give us the chance to send our proposal in written. So we will start working on it, and we will send the written proposals with all of the reasonings as soon as possible on this issue, so that all of the members of the Seecp will have the reasonings on why. Of course, our aim was to make sure that we find a joint solution, and always in good faith and with the intention of enhancing regional cooperation. But we will be preparing the proposal in written as agreed by the standing committee, and then of course all of the delegations will have time to look at it and review it. Having said that, and since we don't have Liam here yet to speak on behalf of the Parliamentary Network of the World Bank and the IMF, I'd like, if you agree, continue with the presentation of the report of the General Committee on Social Development, Education, Research and Science of the Seecp Parliamentary Assembly. Please allow me to mention the fact that this chairmanship in office has developed its workings in extraordinary circumstances due to the pandemic. And this year, the Parliamentary Assembly of the Seecp has been able to prepare only the work documents, which is the draft report and the draft resolution of one of the general committees, the General Committee on Social Development, Education, Research and Science. The draft report and draft resolution are prepared by Sofia and were distributed to all delegations of the Seecp on April 4th for supplementing and sending amendments, whereas they were adopted on June 20th by the delegations at the online meeting of the Central Standing Committee of the Seecp Parliamentary Assembly. the General Committee on Justice, Internal Affairs and Security Cooperation of the Seecp Parliamentary Assembly, and the General Committee on Economy, Infrastructure and Energy, due to the created circumstances of the pandemic, are postponed for next year. Allow me now to give the floor to Mr. Petar Petrov, who's the chair of the Seecp General Committee on Social Development, Education, Research and Science, who's also rapporteur, to present the report of this committee. Mr. Petrov, the floor is yours to present the committee report.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, I have the honor to present to you the report of the resolution of the Committee on Social Development, Education, Research and Science of the Assembly. These two documents were adopted by the Standing Committee of the organization at a meeting held on June 20th. For several months, experts, ministries and parliamentarians have been working on the important topic for the region, accelerating reforms in the area of social inclusion, active parliaments. I would like to thank you all, the parliaments which have provided contributions, amendments, recommendations, and comments in drafting the report and the resolution during the Bulgarian hosting of the committee. I would like to point out here again that we have received valuable and active support from our colleagues in the Croatian parliament, with which they have confirmed their commitment to our regional format. For me, in my capacity as a chairperson of the committee, the fact that the two documents have been approved by the Standing Committee is particularly important because during the last stage of their coordination, we have been compelled to work in an extreme environment. You all know that at the last moment, we had to cancel the meeting in Sofia due to the evolved COVID-19 pandemic in Europe. In this extraordinary situation, the Bulgarian parliament sought a flexible solution in order to efforts of all of us to have an actual result and the work of the committee to be completed according to the rules of the Assembly. Based on the experience of the Romanian presidency, we have used the implemented by them tacit procedure and have offered you the same approach during the final stage of the document's approval. Thank you for your understanding and for your non-objection regarding this proposal. Thus, the report and the resolution have been prepared for approval by the other bodies of the Assembly and have been brought to your attention. The COVID-19 challenge is still topic number one in Europe and in the world. We have neither guarantee nor certainty that in the coming months, the pandemic will be controlled to the extent which would enable us to hold our meetings face-to-face as we have done before. Therefore, we must be ready to continue working using various new forms which we should be looking for and implementing. Video conferencing formats have now been established, which represent an undisputable facilitation. Of course, They cannot replace our live contact, but our work must continue, and we have hope that it will be fruitful in the future as well. I recommend the next host of committees to follow the practice established by the first meeting held immediately after the inaugural initial session. Namely, the topics of the report to be coordinated in advance by a qualified majority and not determined solely by the host country. Only in that way will they reflect most broadly the citizens' interests, have the largest coverage of the relevant to the region issues, to which the Assembly should provide its contribution and recommendations. Hoping that the documents will receive the support also of the plenary session, I wish success to the next host of the committees. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you once again, Mr. Rapporteur Petrov, and all of the members of the General Committees for their dedicated work during the year. Let us move on with the voting on the report and resolution of the General Committee of the Seecp Parliamentary Assembly. Are there any objections? I'd like to ask you once again to use the chat button to explain whether you have any objections. We are asked for a coffee break. I don't see any objections, so I conclude that there is consensus. So I declare the report and resolution of the Seecp Parliamentary Assembly General Committee on Social Development, Education, Research, and Science adopted. Since we've been asked for a coffee break, and I hope all delegations agree, I'd like to give a 15-minute coffee break, and then we will move on with the other committee works. I guess there is agreement for a coffee break. Thank you all, and we'll be back in 15 minutes.
Sesimizi duyabiliyor musunuz? Duyuyor musunuz bizi? Henüz başlamadı herhalde. Tamam, biz bekliyoruz.
If we may continue. I'm so sorry we weren't able to serve you coffee here in Pristina, but I do hope that you enjoyed the coffee break. So I will continue. As you know, on the 20th of June, the general committees had their elections, and they agreed on who leads or who chairs which committee. The General Committee on Social Development, Education, Research and Science will be chaired by Pristina. Any objections? If there are no objections, then I conclude that it is adopted. I move on with the General Committee on Economy, Infrastructure and Energy, which according to the agreement already reached will be chaired by Pristina. Any objections on this? If there are no objections, then I conclude that it is adopted. The General Committee on Justice, Home Affairs and Security Cooperation will be chaired by Ankara. Any objections on that one? No objections, so it is adopted as well. Please allow me to wish a lot of success to the newly elected chairpersons of the general committees, and at the same time thank the countries which held the chairmanships of these committees during 2021. Let us now pass to the adoption of the decision that Seecp Parliamentary Assembly applies for the status of the observer for the Parliamentary Conference of the Baltic Sea.
İki tane çeviri var sanırım. Karışıyor birbirine arkadaşlar.
I see no objections, so I conclude that it is adopted. I now move on with the adoption of the work program for the 2020-2021. You've already received the work program. Any objections on the work program? I see no objections, so I declare that the work program for 2020-2021 has been adopted. Now of course, you will all find the draft declaration of our 7th plenary session, which has been discussed, debated, and consensus was reached at the standing committee meeting held on 20 June 2020 online. I believe you have all received the declaration. May I ask if the delegations have any objections to the draft declaration that has already been discussed, debated, and consensus was reached, as I said, at the standing committee meeting held on 20 June 2020 online. I see no objections. So I assume that we have consensus. Therefore, I declare that the declaration of the 7th CECP Parliamentary Assembly plenary session has been adopted. And I truly thank you all for this consensus. Now we have come to the conclusion and to the end of our working session, and check whether anyone would like to add something before we conclude this working session. Then if no one wants to take the floor for additional comments, let me conclude that we have truly come to the end of this working session. And by thanking you all, all distinguished guests, all distinguished colleagues, your excellencies, representatives of members of the CECP as well as international organizations, by honoring us with your presence in this plenary session. I believe that this session was quite a successful meeting. Oh, actually, we have someone who would like to make a statement. Ms. Derya Bakbak, Member of Parliament from Ankara, the floor is yours.
Değerli katılımcılar, yarın düzenlenecek Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği Süreci Dışişleri Bakanları toplantısının ardından ülkemiz 3. kez Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği Süreci Parlamenterler Asamblesi dönem başkanlığını üstlenecektir. Yüce Meclisimiz de açılışının 100. yıl dönümüne denk gelen bu yılda Güneydoğu Avrupa İşbirliği Süreci Parlamenterler Asamblesi dönem başkanlığını devralacaktır. Bu sene COVID-19 küresel salgını nedeniyle video konferans yöntemiyle gerçekleştirmek zorunda kaldığımız toplantımızın bölgemizde yeni bir bölgesel bilincin, bölgesel sahiplenmenin ortaya çıkmasına vesile olmasını diliyorum. Bu bilinçte ortak kader anlayışının sağlandığı, ekonomik etkileşim suretiyle ekonomik kalkınmanın gerçekleştiği ve siyasi diyaloğun en üst düzeyde yürütüldüğü yeni bir anlayış tesis ve temin etmeli. Tarihten dostluk, dayanışma ve işbirliği dersleri çıkarabileceğimizi göstermeliyiz. Küresel bir tehdit haline gelen bu salgını uluslararası dayanışma içinde atlatacağımız ve gelecek yılki 8. kurul toplantısını, genel kurul toplantısını Türkiye'de fiziki olarak düzenleyeceğimizi ümit ediyorum. Değerli katılımcılar, bu vesileyle sizleri önümüzdeki sene ülkemizde ağırlamaktan şeref duyacağımızı belirtmek isterim.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bakbak, for your intervention, and we truly look forward to joining you in Ankara. May I ask if anyone else from the participants would like to take the floor before we conclude? If not, then I believe that this session was quite a successful meeting in which all our countries demonstrated their full commitment and gave their full political support for enhancing regional cooperation and good neighborly relations in our region. It has been an honor for us in Kosovo to welcome you all, although only virtually, and we truly hope that we will have other opportunities to have you in Pristina and around Kosovo, so that you can see the welcoming spirit of our people, but also the spirit of cooperation that has always been present in our country. We also welcome the upcoming chairmanship of Ankara and hope that we will be able to gather at the next CECP plenary session in 2021. I'd like to thank you wholeheartedly once again, all of you from all of your countries, and wish you well, wish you health, and all the very best to you personally and to the people that you represent. It's been an honor to have you, although virtually, with us in this important plenary session. Thank you all, and with that, I conclude this plenary session.